check your emails. Check your fucking emails. Hello, and welcome back to this week's episode of Yip to My App. I'm Sir Erica Starr, and today we are talking about every single time an email changed my life. And I say this because I tell everyone, I probably started telling people this starting at like the age of 16. Check your emails. Check your fucking emails, because opportunities will sit there and collect dust and just wait until they expire. And, you know, there's one day you're going through your junk mail and you're like, what the fuck? I could have done this. I could have gone here. I could have had this. I had an opportunity to do this. I could have been connected with this person, all because you didn't check your fucking email. There's no other place in your phone, in your laptop, in whatever digital device you have that is more important than your emails. You know, opportunities can come through text, through phone call, whatever. Yeah, like they're legit too. But your email, I don't know. It's legit. It's the most, at least for me, the happy things that have come out of my existence started in my email. Not all of them. I'm just saying a lot of the really good ones. And today I'm going to be listing what all those things are to just hopefully give you hope. And, you know, if you're down in the dumps and you're just like, oh, like nothing good can possibly come out of my life right now. One, it might be sitting in your email, or it might be on its way. They might be typing that shit up right now. So I'm just going to get started with some like smaller things and then up to the bigger things and see how you feel by the end of this. See if you're feeling inspired. See if you feel like you want to do something. See if you want to just get your life going, you know? The first thing that I found in my email that had me like, oh, this can, you know, help me out at this time in my life was a $2,000 grant that was eligible for all of the students in college who were participating in an internship that was, what was it? You had to be working a certain number of hours every week. And for as long as you did that, and for as long as the internship was unpaid, because that was the whole point of this grant, like to help support students who were still participating in internships that they weren't getting paid for. And for as long as that was the case, you were eligible and you could apply and you write a letter, not a letter, but an essay based on whatever prompt they gave you. And boom, $2,000 in your pocket. So they always tell me this, and this, I take pride in this. Any place that I've gone, any school that I've gone to, any important people I've ever had to be in contact with, any client I've ever had, they're always like, yo, like you're on top of your emails. Like I respond to emails as fast as I do text messages. And it's because like, I don't know, I don't see why not. Like it's just, that's business. Anything on your email is business. You get on that. And I think that everybody should see it that way. So with that said, that email came in and it was like only a certain number of people were able to apply. Like not a certain number of people, actually, it was a time limit. It was like, they gave us, I think 3 days. So if I saw that in 4 days from then, poof, scholarship gone, you know? So we had 3 days. I write up my essay, I send it in, and within the next week, I get an email that says, hey, you've been approved for this grant. And, you know, you'll get it in whatever increments and yada, 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 and you're set. And I was just like, wow. Like, for me, I have said this before, and I'll say it again. Adulting is not that hard when you do things the way that you're supposed to do them, when you do them on time, when, you know, you go by the rules. And I get it. Sometimes you got to rebel in certain situations, yada, yada, yada. Like, I'm not stupid. I know. However, you know, like you can avoid issues at the DMV. You can avoid issues with getting your passport. That's one thing. That's for another time. I don't want to ramble too much on here. But so many things can go so smoothly if you just, you know, listen, read, update yourself, all that good stuff. Like if you read the fine print, like a lot of the serious adulting things could be real, what's the word? I don't know. It can be done in a jiffy, you know? I'm just feeling silly today. But yeah, so check your emails. And if you are in college and you're in a college that provides opportunities like that, or like you've heard of it and you're just like, oh, that's never happened to me. Maybe it's because you never check your emails. Check your emails. And I'm going to keep saying that throughout this podcast. And if you don't check your emails by the end of this fucking episode, I'm going to be so disappointed, because why are you here? Why are you sitting here? But let's get into the next opportunity. The next opportunity, oh my gosh. This one I could definitely say, so that grant changed my life for a few months, because like that money held me down for, you know, whatever I was doing in college. But this next one, it changed my life because I met like some really cool people, and it helped me like just jumpstart my career, I guess you can say. In high school, I applied to the PBS NewsHour Student Reporting Labs program that they have over the summer. And it's literally, you apply, like thousands of kids apply. And what you're applying for is the chance to spend a week in DC with like 19 other kids from all across the states. And by the end of that week, you will have produced from beginning to end a piece that has the potential to be not the word's not published, but aired on the PBS NewsHour. And that was a really cool opportunity. And I thought that was cool. I was into video. I'm clearly still into video. I was into and still into like journalism of all sorts, conversation, speaking to people, reporting, all that stuff. And nobody in my school wanted to apply. I went to a very small school. Everyone thought that this opportunity was BS because they're like, we're just a bunch of kids from Brooklyn. I was like, well, I'm me, so I'm gonna apply. I applied at 11:59, right before the deadline. And I know I just said what I said about going by the rules, but that's still going by the rules. I applied within the allotted time I was given. And there was a day I was scrolling through my email, and then I see one from PBS, and it was like, congratulations, you have been accepted into this summer's class of Student Reporting Labs, interns, whatever word that they use, fellows, whatever the heck. And I was like, that was so cool. It was the first time I ever took a flight by myself. Any other flight I had ever taken, I was going to, like Disney World with my parents. And Disney World is great. That part was not an issue. But I'm just saying, like, that was my first flight by myself. I thought it was so cool. I was like, damn, I just started taking the train by myself and I'm on a flight. Whatever. Did I say it was in DC? I don't know if I said that part. But that's where I was flying to. Such a cool opportunity. And I met so many people and I learned how to use Adobe Premiere while I was there. And it was because I had to have like a crash course on it because the other kids in my group for the story we were doing, they weren't able to do it because they were up the night before. And because I wasn't as like adamant about editing at the time, I was doing more of like the reporting and all the other stuff. I had slept early the night before, but they were all tired because they stood up. So I was like, you know what, guys, like take a break. I'm going to take the whole morning and I'm going to finish up this piece. And I learned Adobe Premiere in that hour. In like that first hour, while editing the piece that I was working on, I learned Adobe Premiere. Adobe Premiere is what I use to edit all these episodes. It's what I use to edit the wedding videos and baby showers and events that I shoot for. Like that was the beginning of everything. And those are all just little like butterfly effect things that happened that helped me just jumpstart this exciting life that I have now. And it wouldn't have, like for the sake of this video, it wouldn't have been for, was that the phrasing? It wouldn't have, if it weren't for me checking my emails, then, none of that would have happened. Like, I think that that's beautiful. I think it's amazing. I think it tells you about how important technology can be, because imagine a pigeon was flying that shit to me and the pigeon got lost. This is all just dramatics for the sake of this conversation, but I'm just really trying to drill in that point that you should be checking your fucking email. Opportunity number 3. What do we have? Oh, this one is it's truly about, for PBS, I applied. So I'm looking for that email. This email that I'm going to talk about is one that looked like spam. It sounded suspicious. It was a bit confusing, but it made me at least like $3,000 over the course of like 3 months. And it was because of the protein drink brand that I drink, the protein powder company that I drink from. You get what I'm saying? Point is, it's called Gainful. And I rave about them. I talk about them all the time, yada, yada, yada. I'm like, oh my God, I love their shakes, love their stuff. I know about all their products, blah, blah, blah. I get an email that says, want to be a Gainful ambassador? I'm like, shit, like I'm doing this stuff for free. Yeah, of course I do. It's a form, says fill out your name, fill out all this stuff, blah, 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 all this personal information. And I'm like, this is a lot of information considering this is like do you want to be considered? Like, you don't know me. But, I filled it out. And I got an email 3 days later that was like, hey, meet the crew at the Gainful headquarters on one of these 3 time slots and days. And I was like, okay, like that's interesting. Why am I meeting the crew? Like, I didn't even know if I got the job. I have a job. I didn't apply for a job. I applied to talk about Gainful. Like, I didn't know what the fuck was happening. But, you know, you got to go with the flow sometimes. So I just went. I went and they were pretty much onboarding us. They were like, hey, we're going to do events. What do you guys think about this, this, and this? These are the facts about our drinks and stuff that you should know for when people ask questions. All this stuff. And I'm like, what is happening? And lo and behold, I was a Gainful ambassador for some months. And, you know, like, I know how to flaunt my skills and stuff. I knew that I could do more than just yap about their products. I was like, I do photography and videography for you guys at all your events. And they were like, what? So obviously I was making a lot more money than everyone else was. But that's what I mean when I say check your emails. And then from there, you know, finesse whatever you got to finesse. Like, if you know you're talented, like this is half about emails, half about getting what you want. Because me checking my emails and having that discipline and, like, you know, understanding that opportunities can be in there, that's one half of it. The other half is like taking the opportunity and, you know, just, I hate this using this word, but manipulating it in a way that works best for you. I wasn't hurting anybody. If anything, I was helping them. And yes, I deserve to get paid for the things that I was doing because my pictures were good, my videos were good. I was making snippets. I was making videos that were going around the office, and they were like, oh, like, did our videographer intern make this? Because they had one. And the videographer intern came up to me and was like, you know, they asked if I made this, and I had to tell them that it was you. And they were like, oh my God, who is she? And he was like, damn, like, I can't even make this. I shouldn't even be an intern here. And I was like, yeah, I'm that girl. So, you know, this video is half know your worth, half check your emails, because there's opportunities everywhere. And it was from this random Google form that was sent under the Gainful company's name or whatever that I didn't have to read. Like, initially, like, when you just saw it in the little box, it just kind of looked like, oh, like, we're Gainful and there's an opportunity in here. But it was like, it was very silly in the way that it was worded. And I don't know if it was meant to, like, get the attention of fellow silly people. I don't know what the goal was, but it worked for me. And they really liked me. They still like me. I'm still in contact with some of them. So, you know, there's opportunities everywhere. And it's up to you to do your little scrolly scroll and find them. Now, the next opportunity I'm talking about, these are... This is honestly just more of like a, you know, you do the work, you know, and you expect an email. And if you don't get it, you know, that's unfortunate. But if you do, just make sure that you're on top of your emails to read it and receive whatever it is that you wanted. In this case, it was my job. So my job started off as a fellowship, and I applied for the fellowship, very basic, on LinkedIn. I was like, yeah, I'll start a fellowship, you know, before I get a job, straight out of college, yada, yada, yada. And then, boom, email that says, hey, let's start the beginning of our three-part process to get you onboarded and all that good stuff. And I went through it and I responded promptly. And there were, not gonna lie, there were, I think, 2 emails that I had to respond within 24 hours. And I did. And I got the job. And it's still my job. And I love my job. And it's a great time. And I love it here. I love everything I've done up to this point. But if I, say it with me, guys, if I didn't check my emails, I would have, you know, not been here. This podcast wouldn't have existed. Why? Because if I didn't have a job, I wouldn't have gotten my own apartment. And that leads me to my next part. My apartment. When I got the email that said I was approved to have this apartment, I don't think you understand how huge that is in New York and being young. I mean, I feel like everybody should understand how huge that is. But if you're not from here, you don't understand. It's a fucking big deal. That email, that's another type of email that you do not let that shit linger for over a second in your inbox. As soon as that comes in, you respond. You're like, what files do you need? What's up? All this stuff. And, you know, they gave me a list of things that they needed. I was getting things notarized. I was typing stuff up. I was getting whatever I needed printed out, like everything. I was so ready to go. And if you're not on top of your life, if you're not on top of all things that you need to be on top of, whether it be like, you know, your bank statements, you know, your credit cards, or your emails, like, I'm going to be so fucking annoying because I don't know how else to say it. Your emails are where it's at. Your whole life can change because of your emails and your discipline and willingness and ability to check them frequently. It's two parts to that. But, like this podcast wouldn't exist if I was still living with my grandmother, because my grandmother didn't like guests. And she's Puerto Rican, so she's loud. And it just wouldn't have worked out. There was absolutely no way for that to work out. And I think that like I said, this is all just one big butterfly effect way of life happening and working in your favor because you do the work on your part to, I don't want to keep saying be on top of things, but like, take control of your life. Like look for all the different pockets in your life where things can get better, things can improve, things can, what's the word? I guess flourish, and make it happen. And this is something I feel like I haven't said on the podcast in a while, but it's like, if you want it, you're going to chase after it. And if you don't want it, if you don't want it enough, you're not going to get it. Like, stop expecting things to come to you. I know a lot of these things I'm mentioning, like, it's not things coming to me besides that job opportunity with Gainful. It's, it's the work you put in beforehand. But your reputation and the way that you are perceived is going to be very different based on how long it takes you to respond and how you respond and all that good stuff. There's like, so many little pieces and subcategories to this whole email conversation. But I hope you understand where I'm going with this. The next one that truly, I think more than any of these things, which is crazy to say, but I think changed my life in 1,000,001 different ways, is the one that told me, hey, Erica, you've been accepted to adopt one of our dogs. And the email that came 2 days after that said, hey, we just got in a fresh batch of dogs. These are the dogs that we have that came in this week from Texas. Here's our list of dogs or whatever. And it's a bunch of pictures. And one of them said Piragua and had the most pathetic little picture of him. And I was like, that's the one. That one's mine. That is him. And the way that it worked was first come, first serve. So once again, if I didn't respond to that email sooner, someone else would have snatched them up. And I wasn't letting that shit happen. I literally saw the email 5 minutes after it was sent. And I sent my list of dogs that I wanted from the list because they say like, okay, don't pick just one because, like people are always sending in emails. Like you never know if he already got picked by somebody else. But he was at the top of my list and I put like 2 or 3 other dogs. I would have been happy with whoever I got. But Piragua was meant for me. And they emailed me the next day and was like, do you want to meet him at like 12 p.m.? And if it all goes well, you can pick him up like however many days after. And I was like, yes! And within hours, oh my God, I don't think I've told this story on the pod or like ever really. And I went to go see him and he was such a little cutesy wooshy little baby. And I was like, yeah, I still want him. Like, I guess people, meet the dogs and they go, actually, no, I knew that was my dog. And I fell in love with my little mushy. And then I picked him up a few days later. And yeah, he's been like the best thing in my entire life ever since. And yeah, by the time this gets posted, I think he'll be 5 years old, which is also so depressing. But that's my little Shoopy. And if I never saw that email, I wouldn't imagine that. Imagine you having a child relied on you responding to an email, seeing the email, getting to it at an appropriate time. Insane. So treat all your opportunities as if it's your child waiting in your email. And maybe your life will be better. Like mine. With my little shoopy little baby. I love them. And then I put in a bonus. Only because, this one's iffy. Yeah, you shouldn't answer every phone call that rings your phone. Because a lot of them are a scam. And a lot of them are, weird stuff. Especially now with AI and stuff. But in 2018, I got a phone call. And it was this guy, I don't know, think his name was Brian. who worked for my college, but I didn't know that was my college yet. Well, I knew it was my college. No, I didn't. I didn't know it was my college. It was a call that said, "Hey, Erica, how are you?" And I was like, "Hey, what's going on? Who the fuck is this?" And he was like, "Oh, I'm so and so at the admissions office at such and such school, and I am calling to congratulate you on receiving the presidential scholarship." And I was like, "Huh? What do you mean?" And my school had this thing called Scholarship Day, and on Scholarship Day, it's pretty much an open house, but on top of that, you're given an hour or an hour and a half to write an essay based on a prompt that they give you, and one essay gets picked to one student gets picked based on their essays to receive the presidential scholarship, which meant that you went to school for free for all 4 years for as long as you maintained whatever GPA, and all your textbooks paid for. And I was like, hold the fuck up. Like, I did that? Like, an essay did that? Like, because I wasn't going to be paying for college, and I knew that. Like, my parents would have. But I'm like, hold on, that's still $250. Is it? No, $25,000. $25,000? I think, yeah, it's like $25,000 saved for my parents. I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? Like, that is so cool. And I was hell-bent. I don't know why. I was hell-bent, like, when it came to college, on, like, doing it myself. Because I feel like my parents helped me with a lot. And I was like, this is a big girl thing. As much as, like, their help, looking back, it's like, why wouldn't you want your parents' help if they can help you get into, like, a good college? Whatever. But I was able to do it myself. And I was so happy and I was so proud. And I was just like, oh, my God. Like, and they did it over a phone call. Like, it was just so different. Like, it wasn't on an email. And I guess I can see why. Like, I was just, like, in such shock. And the first thing I said was, like, I had to call my mom. Like, okay, bye. Thank you so much. But, like, I had to call my mom. That was so nice. That was a really nice feeling. And then, like, going to my dad and telling him, like, guess what? Like, my dad, he was just more concerned about the money thing. He was like, for real? Like, I don't have to worry about that. And I was like, nope. And it was so cool. My mom was like, yo, like, you just saved us, X amount of money. I'm like, yeah, I know. Go me. Spend it on Christmas gifts. And they did. I remember I got a bunch of gifts and I was getting treated great. I know I talk about my parents all the time. They give me whatever I want, yada, yada, yada. But, like, that year specifically, they were like, shit, what do you need? Anything. What do you want? You don't have to need it. And that was great. That was so great. Is that everything? Yeah, it is. So with all that said, come on, guys. What do you think I'm gonna say next? Let's play Dora. What am I gonna say? The little arrows going around. What's it gonna click on? It's gonna click on an email because you should be checking your fucking emails. So many opportunities, and I think that this is so weird to say, but I feel like that little email icon on my phone gives me so much hope because I wake up every morning and I check it. And I know that there are so many other instances that I didn't list in this video where seeing the right email or getting an opportunity or something like changed my entire mood or the entire trajectory of what I thought my life was going to be for like the next few months. Like, check your emails, do things that, like, well, how do I put this? Like, do whatever you can to make your life worth living. And I know this is something I say on the pod all the time, but it's like, it's so exciting to look, that's what it is, to look forward to something. And, I've made this a year of trips for myself because I feel like, I am not meant to, just live a sluggish, boring, repetitive, life. Like, it's just not for me. Like, I was never meant for that, ever. Like, that's one thing I can say. I know that much about my purpose. I was not meant for that. And I feel like it's important to do things that make you excited, like, yeah, we have to all be adults and human beings and have jobs and all this stuff. So for the interim, of course, like, we're doing very responsible things. But I think it's very important to make your life worth living every step of the way. It doesn't matter. Always have something to look forward to. Even if it's a dinner with friends, like, schedule things. Like, make sure that every, after every interval of whatever you agree with yourself on, that there is something to look forward to. For me, I made it trips, but then, also make it stuff in your email. Like, I have trips and then maybe I apply to things. I apply to, like, opportunities to do, like, freelance work, or I apply to be a model, or I apply to, have a brand deal looked at or something. Like, I don't know, but just what, oh my gosh, be the butterfly, in the butterfly effect. Be the butterfly that lands on whatever it lands on and causes the effect to spiral into whatever chaos or beautiful mess that your life is meant to be. I know that got oddly poetic out of nowhere, but like, I truly mean that. Like, the world's not just gonna happen, like the world you want isn't just gonna poof happen. Some people are fortunate enough for that to happen, but like, we're not those people over here. We are the people who work. Like, we work to make shit happen, and we have positive mindsets, and we strive for lives of fulfillment, and we work towards the things that we want. And then eventually it feels like, the good thing just, plopped in our lap. But we all know that we worked really fucking hard to get to where we are and deserve all the things that come to us. So just keep putting yourself in positions to look forward to something. Apply to things you think you're not even going to get, and you will be very surprised. You'll be very, very surprised. I feel like this whole email thing is really just a metaphor for that. Like, put in the work. The good will come, even though it takes time, but never like, what is the word? Never fall off your game. That's what I wanted to say. Like, and I can say that even about this podcast. I've been doing this for 2 years. 2 whole years I've been doing this. And I don't plan on stopping because I know what I want. I know the life I want to live. And I know that there are people who, I don't even want to say see my potential. Like, sure, they see my potential for what future me 10 years is going to be doing, but also they understand what I am now. And once they see me, stuff is going to start happening. And I'm not going to say, I can't believe this happened. I'm not going to say, oh, I would have never thought in a million years that this would come to me. No, like, I knew. I didn't work this long for nothing to happen. So know your worth. Continue working and being worth what you tell people your worth is. And never give up. That's my TED Talk. Take from it what you will. I hope you enjoyed this. I hope this was entertaining and somewhat inspiring in even the least tiny bit. Thank you guys for watching. Thank you guys for listening. Please like, comment, and subscribe. Give me 5 stars if your viewing platform allows for you to do so. I love you guys, and I will see you next week. Bye.